You weren't supposed to survive this. Not this year, not this season, not this morning. Something happened to you today. Before you opened your eyes, before the world started making its noise, before anyone else even noticed you were still breathing, God saw it. Every single second of it. The weight you carried when you woke up, that feeling in your chest before your feet even touched the floor, that moment where you looked in the mirror and barely recognized yourself, that quiet devastation that no one around you can see. He saw it all. And here is what I need you to understand right now. You were not randomly scrolling when you found this video. There are 8 billion people on this earth, 8 billion souls moving through time and space. And out of all of them, you are here, right now, reading these exact words at this exact second. That is not an accident. That is not coincidence. That is a calling. You are one of the rare ones, the ones who were broken in places no surgery can reach, the ones who kept going when every single sign said stop, the ones who smiled in rooms where they were dying inside. God does not waste pain like yours. He has been building something in you that most people will never understand. And what I am about to tell you will change the way you see yourself forever. Your tomb is empty now. It is time to walk out. If this message found you at exactly the right moment, type "chosen" in the comments right now. And if you haven't yet, subscribe, because what comes next is for you. Part 1. The morning God watched in silence. It started before the sun came up. You opened your eyes and the heaviness was already there, already waiting for you, like it never left, like it slept beside you all night, patient and quiet, ready to remind you the moment consciousness returned. You lay there for a moment, just still, not peaceful, not resting, surviving the transition from sleep to reality, bracing yourself for another day that asks so much and seems to give so little back. Maybe you stared at the ceiling. Maybe you checked your phone, hoping something had changed. Maybe you whispered a prayer so small and so fragile that it barely made a sound. And maybe you wondered if anyone heard it. I need you to know something. In that exact moment, before you moved, before you performed okayness for the world, God was already watching. Not judging, not waiting to see if you would fail, not counting your mistakes from yesterday, just watching. The way a father watches a child sleeping, with a love so enormous it has no translation in human language. He saw the dream that disturbed you. He saw the thought that crept in first, the one that whispered, "You are not enough," the one that listed everything still broken, everything still lost, everything still far from where you thought you would be by now. He heard that whisper, and he was furious at it on your behalf, because that voice is a liar. You have been listening to a liar every morning for longer than you know. And the tragedy is not that the voice speaks. The tragedy is that it sounds so much like your own. But here is what God knows that you have forgotten. You were chosen before you were broken. The breaking did not disqualify you. The breaking was never the final word. Every morning you wake up is not just survival. It is resurrection. It is God refusing to let the story end where the enemy tried to close the book. You are still here. That means he is not finished. And the morning you had today was not wasted. It was witnessed.
Part 2. What was taken from you? Let's talk about what happened. Not in vague spiritual language, not in comfortable distance. Let's talk about what actually happened to you. Something was taken. Maybe it was a person, someone who was supposed to stay, someone who looked you in the eyes and made you believe you were finally safe, and then disappeared. Not always with cruelty, sometimes with silence, sometimes with slow distance, sometimes with words that cannot be unheard. Maybe what was taken was a version of yourself, the you that used to laugh without weight behind it, the you that used to dream without immediately calculating the odds of failure, the you that used to walk into a room and feel like you belonged in it. You lost that person somewhere, and you have been grieving them quietly ever since. Maybe what was taken was a season, a year, years. Time you will never get back, opportunities that felt like they had your name on them, until suddenly they didn't. Doors that opened just long enough for you to start hoping before they closed again. You know the specific loss I am talking about. It lives in a particular corner of your chest. And here is what I need to tell you about that loss. God has been accounting for every single piece of it. Nothing that was taken from you was taken without His attention. Not the relationship, not the opportunity, not the version of yourself you miss, not the time, not the trust, not the innocence. He watched it happen, and He did not watch it passively. He watched it the way a master craftsman watches raw material being shaped, with purpose, with intention, with the full knowledge of what the finished work will become. What was stripped from you was not punishment, it was preparation. The places in you that feel most hollow right now, those are the exact places He is preparing to fill with something the comfortable version of you could never have carried. Your loss made room. Your emptiness is not the end of the story. It is the architecture of the miracle. Part 3. The thing happening inside you right now. There is something occurring in you that you cannot fully explain. A shift, a stirring, something beneath the surface of your daily exhaustion that hums with a frequency you don't quite have words for yet. You feel it sometimes at unexpected moments, in the shower at 2 a.m. when you can't sleep, when a song hits you in a way that bypasses your mind entirely and lands directly in your chest, when you're driving and suddenly your eyes fill with tears for a reason you can't name. That is not random emotion, that is awakening. You are being reconstructed from the inside, in the places no one can see, in the rooms of yourself you have kept locked and dark because you were afraid of what might be living in there. God has been in those rooms. He has been doing renovation work in the dark. While you were performing your life on the surface, while you were answering emails and having conversations and pretending to be fine, while you were going through the motions with a smile that cost you more than anyone around you will ever understand, He was working underneath, healing things you didn't even know were injured, rewiring patterns that were laid down in pain, dismantling structures that were built on fear and replacing them quietly, carefully, with something built on truth. You are not who you were 2 years ago. Read that again. You are not who you were 2 years ago. The person who is going to walk out of this season is someone you have never met yet. Someone stronger, someone clearer, someone who carries their story not as a wound but as a weapon. Someone who can look at another broken human being and say, I know exactly what that darkness feels like, and I know the way out. The world is waiting for that version of you. Not the healed version, not the finished version, not the version with no more scars, the version that learned to walk with the limp and kept walking anyway. That version is almost ready. Part 4. What God is saying to you right now. I need you to receive this, not intellectually, not from a safe distance. Actually receive it. Let it land in the deepest place it can reach. God is speaking to you today. Not in thunder, not in the dramatic moments you prayed would come, in this, in a still, small voice that found you through a screen because every other door was closed and this was the one that opened. He is saying, I have not forgotten you. Every prayer you prayed in the dark, every night you cried alone, every time you asked why and the sky said nothing back, every moment you felt invisible, every season you survived by a thread so thin you still don't understand how it held. He counted them all. He kept every single one.
He is saying, what happened to you this morning was the last morning of the old version of your story. He is saying, I was there. I am here. I am already in the place you were trying to reach. He is saying, the tomb was never meant to be permanent. Tombs are for the finished. Tombs are for stories that have ended. But you are still in the middle. You are in the Saturday between crucifixion and resurrection, the day of silence, the day where nothing seems to be happening, where faith has nothing visible to hold on to, where the only evidence that the story continues is the stubborn fact that you are still breathing. Saturday always ends. Sunday always comes. And God is saying to you directly, personally, unmistakably today, your Sunday is coming. Not someday in the vague distance, not when you finally get it all together, not when you have healed enough and earned enough and performed enough. Soon, the stone is already beginning to move. This is the moment, right here, right now, in whatever state you're in. You don't need to be ready. You don't need to be whole. You don't need to have the answers or the strength or the certainty. You just need to take one step toward the opening. The chosen ones were never the ones without wounds. They were the ones who walked out of the tomb still wrapped in the grave clothes, still carrying the evidence of everything they had been through, still tender, still healing, but moving, always moving. You were seen this morning. You were covered this morning. You were carried through a moment that could have broken you completely, and you are still here. That is not luck. That is destiny. God does not choose the perfect. He chooses the prepared. And preparation looks like everything you have been through, every loss, every night, every unanswered prayer, every morning you chose to get up when every cell in your body said, stay down. You have been in preparation for something you cannot yet see, but it is real. It is already written, and the person reading these words right now was always supposed to read them. Walk out of the tomb. The stone has already been moved. Walk out. Walk out. Walk out, chosen one. Your new season starts today. If this message was for you, subscribe right now, because the next word God wants to speak to you is already waiting.